Okay, I'm going to share my screen. I am sure everyone is able to see my screen. I think most of you are familiar with HerdMaster. If I move too quick, please just stop me. I'm not doing a long course. At the time said 9 to about 10:30, depending on questions, we could finish at about 10. I'm doing shorter courses that I'm loading onto YouTube since we can't do normal in-person training, and doing it online just takes too much time if you have to do it for the whole day. So I'm breaking it up in parts. This will be part 1, and then about in a month's time, I will be doing part 2. If you see that I'm sending out a part 2 training course advert and there's something specific that you want me to go through as well, just let me know, then I can always just add it with. Okay, the first thing on the agenda was the animal list. So how to use your animal list screen. In HerdMaster, this is your basic screen when you open HerdMaster. So you have menus on your right and you have menus at the top. Sorry about that interruption. You have menus at the top, menus on your right-hand side. If you can't see your menus on the right, some antiviruses, I know Kaspersky is one. We used to use Kaspersky ourselves, but it just started to block too much of the HerdMaster. We have requested them some time ago to add the program to, they call it a whitelist, but they haven't done that. So if you're in your HerdMaster and you can't see this, it's your antivirus. Put certain files into quarantine. I should be able to fix it for you. But you can access your animal list from the top menu, where it says animal list, or on your right-hand side, it also says animal list. So this is your basic animal list screen. You will see toward your left is a blue block. If you tick that blue block, this screen, it gives you, everything you tick on here is what you'll see in columns. So the more you have ticked here, the more you're going to see here, you would need to drag your bar to the right. So you could only have ticked what you use and what you would like to see. It doesn't matter if you have too much on the screen. Where it becomes a problem is if you want to print the screen. Then it's going to go onto 2 pages if you have too many columns. So then you're going to sit with 20 pages instead of 10. You can always deselect columns if you just want to print something and put them back if you want to, if you can't find the printing option anywhere else in HerdMaster and you want to do it this way. I'm just going to, let's find one to tick that I haven't ticked. Let's use, looking for something that I know might have some info in. Okay, let's take society is here, but let's take the sire tag as well. So I would need to scroll to the right to find sire tag. There is sire tag. This screen allows you to see missing information as well. Example, if the owner breeder sex code, if that's not in, you'll see as a bunch of owners that's not in. So this helps you to see missing information and then you can correct it. If you send information to the society, you would need to have an owner and a breeder in. You won't be able to send anything to the society if that is blank. So you would need to correct that. You can also drag columns. Let's say you want to see your society ID next to your animal ID. So you will just click it and then drag it to where you want it. National ID is usually the computer number. If you import information from the society, it's not imported by default. They usually call it a computer number, but you can request that file and we can import it. All these columns you would see, you can sort or you can filter. So if you want to, let's say, look at animal tags ascending or descending, between the column header and that little funnel, you won't see anything. But if you click between the two, a little triangle appears. So once you'll do it ascending and then you'll do it descending, depending on how you want to sort it. You can do it for date of birth. Let's say you forgot to add animals to a worksheet and you group your animals together according to birth year. So the easiest way then to find those animals instead of searching number by number is by just sorting the birth year. Your other option is, if you know it's only a specific year that you want, to click on the funnel. The funnel will list the options that you have in here. So let's say I don't have any animals for 1960. So it's not giving me a 1960 option. I can say I just want to see, let's say 2018 animals. Then it's going to, if I scroll down, you'll see it only gives me 2018 animals. But be careful if you do this and then you're looking for another animal. Let's quickly find a tag for a more recent animal. So let's say that animal. Sorry, I'm just writing down a number. So I'm going to sort birth or filter birth year and look for a specific animal. So now I can only see animals born in 2018. Now I'm looking for a new animal. It's not finding anything because it's looking specifically for 2018. Click on the funnel and then just say all. There is the animal I was looking for with a birth year of 2020. So just keep in mind, if you use a filter and you're looking for something else and you know it's there, but you can't find anything, just make sure your filters are cleared. When you enter new data into HerdMaster, especially if it's new calves, you will enter a calf and then immediately go and find it. Let's say you forgot to add a color and you want to add the color and you know you've just entered the animal, but you can't find it. Just click refresh on your right-hand side so that it processes the new information. Then you should be able to find the animal. On this screen, you will also see at the bottom left, you have a show inactive and a show offsite option. The inactive, most people just leave unticked because they just want to see the active animals. So animals that you cancel on HerdMaster, that you fade, won't be removed from your database unless you delete them. It's not easy to just delete an animal if it's linked to another animal. So let's say you have a dam with 3 calves and you just want to delete the dam. You can't delete her. It's going to say that she's being referenced as a dam to other animals. So you would need to go to the calves, take out the dam, or select the correct dam if it was the wrong dam, and then you'll only be able to delete. But if there are sale records and things like that recorded against it, it won't be that easy to just remove her. I had a client that we battled forever to try and delete the animal that he entered incorrectly. And there was a sale recorded against the animal and he can't remember even entering the sale. So you would just need to make sure that everything referenced on that animal is removed. Weights and traits it will automatically remove if you delete the animal. Any questions before I carry on? Okay, you're welcome to unmute yourself if you want to ask something. I've just muted all the microphones for background noise. Okay. Second block on your left shows, it says show offsite. So what happens is when you create your database, it asks for a main property, which would be your default property. So you can have a default main property called Grootfontein or whatever, and then in that you would have various camps or locations. So you have one main one with separate camps. If you have more than one main property, you can set that up as, let's say you have animals on a neighboring farm. You can set that up as a main property as well with different camps or locations, but it would see the second main property. It would see those animals as being off-site because it's not on your main location. Most people just leave this show off-site on if they're very unsure how the properties work. But if you can't find an animal and you know it's your animal and you have various properties and locations, just make sure your show off-site is unticked. Or sorry, is ticked so that it can show all the animals. You'll see on the bottom left, it shows how many animals are in my current view. So currently I have 303 active. If I tick inactive as well, there's 2031. So those are all the animals that's on here. But I just want to see active. Do not remove animals off your database, even if they dead or sold, because you are going to lose information. And if you have a calf of that animal, you can always go back and look up at specific information again. So all that you would do is fight or cancel your animal on HerdMaster. That is something that I'll show you in one of the future courses. And then you send that to the society that the animal has been cancelled. So don't delete the animal. If you've entered a tag incorrectly, you can delete the animal if you want, if you've literally just added the animal and there's no information in, but you can also just retag the animal. To retag an animal, you can't just delete the tag and type a tag in. You need to follow a process. It's just to avoid mistakes by accidentally deleting characters or something like that. You'll see at the bottom right on these menus, this is where you can delete animals. Let's click on delete. It's going to say that I haven't selected any animal. Oh, said I selected an animal. Do I want to delete all the records associated with that animal? I'm not sure how much information is on this animal because it's just test data. So let's say yes and see if it removes it. Just want to make sure I've got the right number. It's going to ask you again, are you sure you want to do this? And it's removed the animal. You'll see that animal is gone as well. Let's try and find it. And it's not there, so it did delete that animal. Let's see if I can find one that maybe has a calf, and then I'll just show you. I'll show you this screen just now. Okay, let's go to the dam. Now it can't find that animal I'm looking for, but my inactive is unticked. So I've ticked the show inactive as well. Let's see if it would delete her. And now it says, I can't remove the animal, dam or sire, so it's pedigree. So what would happen then is I need to go and remove the dam off that calf. But I just wanted to show you that it does give you warnings. Just waiting for it to load the animal list. I'm not going to go through everything on this specific screen. These other menu options are things that I'll show you in courses to come. Today I'm just going to do the basic animal list screen, the details screen, and then worksheets and filters. You'll see there's the worksheet, but I'll do that after. How to add an animal, and then the universal file import, but I'll explain that one also a bit later. Before I do the animal details screen, any questions? Okay, seems everybody's still fine. Let's do the animal details screen. Now to get into your animal details, you would double click on an animal, or one of the menu options on your right says details. You'll see no animal is selected because nothing's blue. So let's select that animal, and then I'm going to say details. So this screen you'll see now is information linked to that specific animal. Animal tag you'll always have when you add an animal. If you don't use electronic IDs, you can leave that out. National ID is the computer number that the society generates. Then you'll have your sire and your dam. You'll see that it's blue. So if you click on that blue, it will open that specific animal. If you quickly want to go and reference information on the dam or the sire. I'm just going to close the sire to go back to the calf. Sex code, date of birth. Then you'll see fate, fate date, fate reason. So this animal is still active. It hasn't been cancelled yet. So that would only be entered when an animal is sold, moved to commercial, died, whatever the case may be. Very top left, you'll be able to see if an animal is active. If that block is ticked, it's still active. Unticked, the animal is inactive. If by accident you click on fate, it's automatically going to say to you, do you want to make this animal active? I'm just going to say yes, leave it active because there's no fate code in. If you enter a fate code, it's going to say, do you want to make it inactive? So if it gives you a little pop-up screen, just make sure what it says before saying yes or no. Then you have your menus at the bottom. So overview, I just want to see if there's one with weights in. That is not a good example. There's one, okay. On your overview is your basic information of that specific animal. Sorry, you'll see top left. This animal has a fate code in. P is usually a non-owned parent. which you usually get when you import information from the society. If you import information from the society, you'll get a lot of animals that doesn't necessarily belong to you because it's pedigree. Important when you import information from the society, usually that only happens one, and that's when you start off with your program and you have a new database. I do have clients that send in their information using Excel to the society, then getting an extract from the society, and then importing it into HerdMaster. Yes, that could work, but the problem is when you send information to the society and they generate an extract, they can't only send you your new active animals that you've just registered. They need to send everything. So animals that's on here already, they're going to send it to you again. There's a very important little block that you need to tick if you import those files again, because if you don't, it's going to duplicate all the animals that have already existed and you need to import them again. Then you're going to have a bunch of tags that look exactly the same, but it has a little star next to it. So if you have tags, I'll type it in there. Let's change that there. It will look like that. No, not like that with a little star. So, but that would be on your animal tags side as well. So if you have a bunch of tags that look like that, and you know that number is exactly the same, and then there's one with a star. Information was imported and duplicates were created. That could be an exercise to fix, but it is possible. You would just need to see which animal has the most information in, go and delete the animal, and then re-tag all the ones with a star and remove the star. I just want to show you what I said about re-tag. You'll see I can't type in there. I might as well quickly show you how to do a re-tag. So let's say this tag was incorrect. I need to add a C. I'm going to say add a re-tag. It will give you this screen. I want to re-tag animal tag. So on your right, click on the plus and say add. It's going to give you a date. It's going to give you your old tag. You can enter your new tag. And say, okay. So that is the old one. That is the new one. You can just close. So you'll see that it's changed this tag with ABC and not AB anymore. Then you'll see the first time I did it, it only said add re-tag. Now it says view. So if you click on view, it will show you the date and what the tag was and when you changed it. Okay, back to the bottom screen. On the overview, it shows you how many times this animal's weighed, lifetime average daily weight gain, procedures which would include treatments. It will show you procedure costs if you've got that set up in HerdMaster, on which current location that animal is, last weighed, average daily weight gain, and then also last procedure. The next tab says additional. I'm not going to go through all of them, but you'll see which was important was there's no owner in here. And then there's a breeder selected. Weights, all the weights recorded against this animal. Weight ratios can be calculated. It's not calculated, so it's not going to show anything there. Movements, if the animal was moved from different locations, it would all be listed here. Traits, any traits recorded against the animal, horn status, docility, whatever the case may be. Treatments, there's nothing recorded on here. Correct tests, if anything was recorded, if matings were loaded, progeny, the number of calves. You will see it also shows you how many natural calves, intercalving, age first calf. If there were any embryos, pedigree. There's no sales or purchases on this animal. Diary entry you would use to enter any specific notes, anything you want to take note of or remember. Pictures, pictures and documents work on the same principle. You can add as many pictures or documents as you like. You can choose a default picture at the bottom, and then at the top you'll see there's a tab that says picture. So it will show you the default picture on the screen. But before you go and load documents and pictures on a specific animal, you need to make sure that your initial setup of your pictures file is correct and you're happy with it and you're not going to move it. Because if you have a file on your desktop, Pictures 2020, and you add photos to 50 different animals and everyone's got a picture, and then you decide to move that file from your desktop to a pictures file, it's going to lose every single path and you're going to have to redo it again. So make sure with documents and pictures, your initial file is where you want it and you're not going to move it. And then go and enter your pictures and photos. Worksheets I'll do just now, but it shows you available worksheets and on how many worksheets this animal is. You can also put an animal onto a worksheet from this screen. And then the last one is not something you'll use. Top menus, we have society info. You'll see it has a society ID, tattoo, breed info. This is not a embryo calf, so there's no foster recipient dam or anything like that in here. EBVs, not something you can enter. HerdMaster can't calculate EBVs. It's a file imported from the society. That one, oh, you won't. Oh, sorry. Now it won't allow me to do the rest. Let's just make it smaller. Defects, pictures, goes to carving data. These are all things that in future training we would look at and enter information. I don't want to go into every one now because it's going to be too much information. Any comments? Okay, that is not something you would use. Submissions, if anything was sent to a society, that information will be listed here. So you would be able to see, if you can't remember, if you sent a registration through to the society, just go and look at the submissions tab. It will show the date here. That is the animal details screen. Now we still need to do worksheets and filters, add calves, and then the universal file import. Is there any questions before I carry on to let's do worksheets and filters? Okay, let's move on to worksheets and filters. Worksheets and filters are two different things. Worksheets, you would select the animals that you want to group together. Filters, you give criteria and the system will give you a list of animals. So to create a worksheet, usually the easiest is if you use your animal list screen. So let's sort animals according to birth year and then create a worksheet for them. I'm going to select the funnel and say I want animals, let's say 2020. If it's random animals from this list that you want to select for the worksheet, you will keep Control in and select. If the animals are listed below one another, you can keep Shift in and scroll down. If you want to select every animal on the screen, just say select all. Keep in mind my show inactive is ticked, so it's going to put inactive animals in that worksheet as well. If I unselect it now only shows 23 animals, whereas it showed 38. So let's say I'm just going to put inactive on the list. Going to say select all. Bottom right, click on worksheet. On this screen, click on the drop down. It will show you all your current worksheets. But if it is a new worksheet, you just delete the name and retype your new worksheet name. Usually when you start off with worksheets and filters, decide if you're going to start off with a name or a date. If you use both, it just gets confusing and it sorts alphabetically, so it will sort numerically. If you have dates and then the name, and then on the next one you have a name and then a date, it's not going to list properly. You can use it like that. It just takes time to try and find the worksheet that you want to work with. And then I'm going to say, okay, are you sure you want to do this? Yes. Added animals to the worksheet. Okay. You can have as many worksheets as you want. You can have an animal on as many worksheets. You can delete a worksheet if it's one that you're not using anymore. If you've created it by accident, you can't change the name of a worksheet. So let's say refresh and let's see if I can find that worksheet. On the drop down, I call it calves 2020. There's the worksheet. So let's open this animal. Double click to open her. On your right hand side, click worksheets. There it shows this animal is on that worksheet now. You can also add a new worksheet on this screen if you like. I'm just going to close. You'll see that it's only showing calves or animals on that specific worksheet. If I'm looking for something now, it's not going to show me anything. So you would need to remove that worksheet if you're looking for an animal that's not on there. And you'll see it's not finding that animal again because I've still got birth year on here. So I'd need to say all. And there it's finding the animal now. So if you look for something you know that's there, just look around somewhere. It's filtering according to a year or specific tag. It could even be location depending on what you searched on. If you go to setup, bottom, Third from last, you have animal worksheets and contact worksheets. So you can put your contacts in worksheets as well. I'm not going to do that now. I'm just going to work with the animals. On your left, it says selected worksheet. So let's use the one that I just created. There's all the animals that I have on this worksheet. I only put active animals on the worksheet. So saying show inactive is not going to do anything because they are all active in any event. If there was inactive animals on the screen or on that worksheet, it would have displayed now. But now I want to, let's take the top two, remove them from the worksheet. They're not supposed to be there. So you select them and move them to the right. Top right, you can say update. You'll see that those animals are gone now. I'm going to take one of the other worksheets. Let's take that one. Move to the right. I'm going to say delete. Are you sure you want to delete the worksheet? I'm going to say yes. Worksheet is gone. If you delete a worksheet, it won't delete the animals off your HerdMaster. It's just removing the worksheet. If your animals are grouped together by date or something specific, and you accidentally delete the worksheet, you can always just go and create it again. If you misspell a worksheet, easiest way, let's say I want to change let's see if there's something in there. New 2019, and I want to call it calves 2019. So the quickest way to fix that would be to find the worksheet. I'm going to create a new worksheet. So I'm going to select worksheet, but it won't because I only have one animal on there. So to work with worksheet, you need at least 2 animals. So let's find one that I can use. Okay, let's use this one. Select all, click on worksheet. I want to call it, that says camp 1. Let's say camp 1 and give it a date. Am I sure? Yes. So now I've added the animals on the camp 1 worksheet to the camp 1 2020 worksheet. So if I go to setup worksheet, animal worksheet, and find the worksheet that doesn't have the date, I'm just going to select it and delete. Are you sure? Yes. So the animals that was on the one worksheet is now on the new worksheet with the correct name. It's easier if you group your animals together on a worksheet. Usually it's by year. You can have one by sex and by year, mating groups. Group animals together, which you're going to use together. So if you enter weights, and now you have to do, let's say, weaning weights and a specific trait. When you enter information, I'm not going to do that now. I just want to show you where you would use it. So if you go to data entry, where data entry is used to enter new information, and let's say weights. So instead of, I'm just clearing the screen. So instead of going to find every single animal by searching for a tag and moving them across to record a weight, the quickest way is to just go and find your worksheet. All the animals are grouped together and then enter a weight. Instead of finding, if you have 50 animals, it's not that big of a mission to go and find 10 or 20 animals. But if you have 1,000 animals, you don't want to go and search tag for tag. It just wastes your time. Best way is then just to create a worksheet or a filter. Any questions on worksheets before we set up a filter?
Hello, Janine.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Johnny.
Yes, the last statement you made about if you have 1,000 cattle and you want to sort of put their weights against them, what did you, I seem to have missed a step there. How do you do that in order not to waste the time?
The entering weights and traits onto a specific animal, I will only do on a later course. What I said now is if you have 1,000 animals, it's easier to use a worksheet with animals grouped together instead of looking for each and every single tag of a specific animal of who you want to record a weight against.
Okay, no, that's fine.
So entering weight specifically, I'll do in the next training. Otherwise, it's going to be too much information.
Okay, no, that's fine. Thanks.
Thanks, Kitani.
Cheers. Bye.
Okay, let's set up a filter. And then we just have the universal file import. And then if there's any questions, you'll see on the animal list screen, you also have a top menu that says active filter. If you click on the drop down, it will show you all the filters you have available. If you click on add update, it will take you to the filter screen, or you go to setup, fourth from the bottom, filtering. You also have contact and then animal filtering. We want to create a new filter. So let's say add filter. Let's give the filter a name. You can have as many lines as needed at the bottom. I'm going to say that I want animal tags. On your right-hand side, I'm going to add a few lines. So you'll see it adds extra lines. Let's say we want to see animals with a birth year equal to, I know there's 20, now I say 2020, so we need to say 2020 animals. Then I want the sex code equal to, let's say female. Keep in mind, you can't say on this side where I've typed in female. You can't shorten it and just say FEM or say vrouwelijk, because in HerdMaster it's recognized as female. So you would have to say female. I'm going to remove that extra line. And now I'm going to say test filter on the right. Now it's not giving me anything because something's wrong. If your filter doesn't give you any information, you've missed something. So now I need to look at my filter to see why it's not giving me any information, because I just want to close that. On this screen, it's clear that there should be 2020 animals, but now do they all have a sex code in? So I'm scrolling right, and there are animals that has a sex code of female. but I'll show you what the problem is now. So let's go back to setup filter. It's that filter. I'm going to take that one off. So I'm just going to, if I say remove line now, it's going to take the bottom one away. Okay, but let's then just change that one and say female. Let's see if it gives me anything now. And now it gives me information. What happened there was I said animal tag equal to nothing. So it couldn't give me any information. So it works with what you give it. Let's do or add dates. I just quickly want to look at these dates. So now I have 21 animals on the filter for females birth date the year 2020. So let's change this to date of birth. And I'm going to say, I first want to swap these two around. And I'm going to say for the first 6 months of last year, I'm going to add a line, date of birth. You'll see if you click on the calendar and you click on the month. It's easy if you just want to change a day or two. But if you need to go back to last year, if you click on the top, it's easier to find a year or a month, whatever the case may be. So I'm going to say June, let's say end of June. Let's test the filter. Now it's not giving me anything because the sign that I used in the middle, I swapped around. So make sure these signs are the correct way around. I said dates smaller and equal to, and then larger. I need to swap it around so that it gives me the animals born between January and June. Let's test it now. Now it's giving me animals. So if you know your date is correct and it must give your animals, just go and check these little signs and then maybe just swap them around. Okay, now it's showing me 14 animals and just now I had 21. And you'll see that all the birth dates are between January and June. So I'm going to close this filter. I'm going to, sorry, I just want to see somebody that wanted to enter again. On the screen, let's go and find that filter. So on the drop down, here it is, demo calves 2020. So from this screen, you can't put animals into a filter. You can put them into a worksheet. And you'll see now that I have a worksheet and a filter on here. Let's just take the one off so that it shows all on that side. You'll see that the amount of animals increased because these animals are not part of that filter because it's got information missing. Okay, just want to close there. The same with worksheets being able to be selected on specific data entry screens to enter information. You can use a filter as well. So depending on where you get the information, is it animals that you want to group together or animals that you want the system to give you Depending on that, you would create either a worksheet or a filter, and then you would use that worksheet or filter to enter data. Any questions regarding filters or anything thus far? And then we can do the universal file import. I hope you can hear me now. I kept saying my mic was on mute, but it looks like it's on now. Okay, let's do the universal. Sorry, I just want to see there's something on here. Oh, yes. I did not add animals calves. Thank you, Ilse. I forgot to add that. Okay, so let's do the add animals or calves and then the universal file import. To add an animal, let's first add an animal and then add a calf. So you would click on animals, add animals or add calf, or if you are in your animal list, at the bottom, I just want to clear this filter. It also has a plus where you can say add animal or add calf. So let's first just add an animal. Usually when you add an animal, it would always remember your previous tag. I haven't entered any new animals recently on this database, so it's not remembering any tags. Usually tags are 3 herd ident letters, then you have a year, and then you have your sequence number. I am going to just take JJL. There is animals in with that number or that herd letters. And then I'm going to say we're on the year 21. Let's say it's the first animal I'm loading for this year. You'll see when I clicked on electronic ID, it automatically generated society ID, the prefix, because I have a prefix set up in my setup. It gave me the suffix and it gave me tattoo. Suffix, you can also enter a name. If you use specific names for your animals, you are welcome to put that in there as well. When you send information to the society, you need to have a society ID and a tattoo. Even if you have an animal tag and those two are not entered, you won't be able to send the animal to the society. The system is just going to say there's no society ID or tattoo in. All you can do then is just go and open the animal in the animal details screen, and then you can just quickly change it and then send it to the society. The way this generates your society ID and tattoo from your tag is the way it is set up in your HerdMaster. So if yours generates incorrectly, you can let me know, then we need to have a look at it and fix it. I do know that some of the societies zero strip the numbers. So they don't want to see 001. They just want to see that. We can do that in the setup so that it, from that tag with zeros in, it generates a society ID and a tattoo without zeros. If you buy animals from somebody and you want to add that animal as a dam on your system or as a calf, whatever the case may be, you would need to make sure that your ID that you use is what it's registered with at the society. So before you can say, even if you didn't breed the animal, but you want to say that this is the dam or the sire of a specific calf, you would need to add the animal to your database. Otherwise, the animal won't be there to select as a dam or a sire. You must make sure that the tag is correct, because if you have a space too many or a zero too many that they have at the society, it's not going to link that calf to that animal at the society. So make sure that is correct. What you can do is, if you purchase animals from somebody that also uses HerdMaster, they can send you an extract of animals and you can import it onto your site. Then you will have that animals on your system. Some people, if they buy a bunch of animals that's registered onto their name at the society, they ask for an extract again, which you can do, but remember, it's data over data again. So before we import those files again, we always just do a backup, because at some stage it's going to get corrupted because it's data over data over data. On this screen, you will only enter the information that you have on hand and that you want to enter, but to be able to send it to a society, you would need to have an animal tag. And if it's a new calf, you would have to have the dam and the sire as well, sex, date of birth. So let's say it's a female. I'm not going to enter a dam and a sire. It's a new animal that I bought. I'm not concerned about having a dam or a sire because this is not a calf that I need to register. I'm just putting this animal on to have a record on my system. You'll see it says owner and owner under owner and breeder. If that says something else, let's say I want to put the breeder number in, and now I put the wrong breeder number in, and now I want to send a registration to the society. But I'll show you that when we do add a calf, it won't allow you to send information for this animal because it's not under your ownership. On your right-hand side, I'm not going to add everything in here, but you can add information that you want. You can even, you'll put in colors if you want to say you purchased this animal, who you purchased it from, you can enter that. If you want to create a new worksheet, let's say I want to add it to, I've started off with calves 2020, let's say calves 2021, add a new worksheet, and that animal is on this worksheet. So if I'm going to be entering a whole bunch of new 2021 calves, add them to the worksheet as you go, or you can just go and filter according to birth year after you've added all of them, and then create a worksheet. You'll see at the top, if you can change the location where the animal is at as well. I'm just going, by default, it will always have your default location at the top. So you can either save and finish or say next animal. I'm just going to say save and finish. Now mine is set up to, when I add a new animal, it will always prompt for a weight. If yours does not do this, your setup is done so that you can add an animal without entering a weight. So let's just say this is a new calf. It's without a dam and a sire, but that's okay. Observation code B, because I'm going to enter a birth weight. Performance group, management group is the same. I'm going to say performance group 1. If you do not have performance groups in your HerdMaster, you would need to set that up. Usually they work on mainly 3, one being natural, 2 if it's sick animals, and 3 maybe show animals. If you have more than one, you can enter more than one. It's just so that you know, if you enter, let's say, weights on a performance group and you see that a specific group is doing better than another group, you would be able to see, but this is performance group 2, all of them were ill. That's why their weight gain isn't looking as good as the animals in performance group 1. Let's put a weight in there. Let's say add weight. And now it's saying to me, I can't enter a weight of 80. So if you click on that red exclamation, it shows that my birth weight is outside of the valid values. It should be between 25 and 75. So what happens is every breed is set up to standard default weights, trait codes. I know, especially with a drought, the weights weren't what it's supposed to be. So what you can do is in your setup, if let's say this animal's birth weight was 80 and I need to record it as 80. You can let me know, and in your setup, I can go and change that parameters and just lift the 75 to 85 so that you are able to record that weight against that animal. If it's weaning weights and it's lower than it should be, we can just go and lower the weights. I'm not going to do the change now. I'm just going to say 70. If you want to enter any notes, I'm just going to say weight. Now it's loading my animal. So let's go and find that animal. I didn't say refresh, but the animal is at the top. So I'm going to double click to open the animal. I entered a weight. So let's go click on weights. There is the weight that I entered. If you click on weights and it says failed to load animal weights, it's a full stop and a comma discrepancy. HerdMaster uses your computer setup. So if usually it works on a full stop, then you've entered weights, Windows didn't update, you didn't even know it didn't update. You log onto the screen that says failed to load weights. If you go to view edit, and you go to weights, you'll be able to see the weight displayed. You can delete it and retype it. If it's just too many weights, let me know. I do have a file that I can run on your computer just so that it changes the comma to a full stop so that you can see the weights on the screen. Don't worry if you can't see it yet. Don't go and re-enter and re-enter and re-enter a weight, because it's going, if I fix the problem, you're going to have 4 let's say weaning weights recorded on the same day with the exact same weight. And that becomes a problem when you need to send that information to the society. Now let's add a calf. You'll see when I say animal, add calf, it's automatically going to bring up this screen where you can select a mating. When you don't have matings recorded, you can just say add animal and go and select the dam and the sire from that screen. If you do have matings recorded, you can use this screen. I'm not sure if there's any matings recorded. Let's go and find a dam. Okay, so it shows there's mating for this specific dam. So let's use this mating. So you could either say add new to add a new mating, record without mating, or choose selected mating. Do take note of your calving date. Maybe the calf was born yesterday or the day before. You only get into entering the data today. If you by accident put in the wrong date, you can go and change the date. I'm going to leave it as today and just say choose selected mating. If you have more than one mating lying over here for one specific animal, it would say to you, do you want to file all other matings? What happens is some people do AI and then they put a bull in and then they record two separate matings, one with the AI and one for the bull. But what you actually need to do in that case is create a multi-sire. That's also something I would do in one of the other trainings, but you would create a multi-sire. So instead of having two matings on the dam, you would have one mating saying, this is a multi-sire. I did both, but I'm not sure who the father is. So when you send information to the society, you would select the multi-sire. And then once you have the DNA, then you can go and say, okay, this specific father is the father or the sire of that calf. I've selected the mating. The dam that's selected, it shows you the tag there. Then calving ease, 1 being very easy, 5 surgical. Birth weight, the dam's weight at the birth of the calf. If you don't have that, you can leave that out. Birthing status is not being used anymore, as well as udder score and rearing status. That's something that they will remove in an update. I'm going to leave the dam. Let's see what it does. Number in birth, if it's a twin. If you say number in birth 0 and your setup is done that way so that when it says a 0, it would give you a tag of dead. I'm going to leave it at 1, performance group 1. If you want to put in any notes, you can. I'm just going to say continue. So now you'll see it remembered my previous tag. That was the previous one. Now I'm on number 2. It put in the society ID, prefix, suffix, right at 2. It put in the date of birth because I said that it was today, the birth year. Now it already has the dam and the sire selected because I've used a mating. I'm not going to say color or anything like that. I am just going to say save and finish. And you'll see that I did something wrong. I'll show you now. Let's refresh. What was that tag number? Just want to scroll to see sex code, and you'll see there's my problem. So if I try and register this animal now, it's not going to work because I didn't select sex. So let's say it's a female again, and then I can close it. I'm going to show you how to send the new calf to the society. You would click on reports. Breed plan reports is for weights and traits and mating data. And then you have society reports, which is your registrations and cancellations. I'm just going to do registration. Only selected. That calf I didn't put on the worksheet. So now I need to go and find that animal. If I put it on my calves 2021 worksheet, I could have selected between only 2 animals, but I didn't. So now I need to go and find that animal. There it is. So you select your animal on the left, move it to the right, at the top, say finish. Let's see what it says. So it didn't give me any errors. If the dam didn't have a society ID, it would have given me an error. I can fix it and then generate the report again. You'll see that it has the dam and the sire details. calf details. There's your calf ID. You would send this to the society either using the envelope. If you get an error that says MAPI, it's M-A-P-I. That's a Windows problem. The program is built in the little globe to get past that problem. So you would enter your email address, the society's email address should come up, type your message and you can send. You would get a copy of that email. When you send information to the society, whether it be new weights, registrations, cancellations, always ask them to confirm receipt of the email. Give them a week or two and go and check on the system if that information has been recorded. Don't assume that they got the email and that the work has been done. Sometimes the email goes to junk. They get a lot of emails and emails can easily get lost and they don't know they need to record information and you're under the impression it has been recorded and then there's penalties involved and everybody's unhappy. So rather make sure that they get the information. I'm just going to cancel. Yes, I want to cancel. Remember, the screen that you're seeing here is not what the society is going to get. They receive it as a data file so that they can import it on their side. When you do a fight on an animal, let's say you've sold 10 animals. The guy hasn't fetched the animals yet. In the meantime, you've weighed them. You've recorded a weight against them. You haven't cancelled the animals at the society because they haven't been fetched from your property. Now you're sending in a new winning weight. That cancellation in the background, you won't see it on your report, but it goes to the society. So the society is cancelling the animal along with adding the weight, and you didn't know that they cancelled the animal. So don't cancel animals on your system if you know you're going to send more information on that animal to the society. You can put in a sale if you want, and then once they've moved off your property, you're not going to do anything with them anymore. Put in the cancellation or the fight code and then send that to the society. I'm going to close the screen. It's just giving me the same screen because I didn't send the email. Is there anything on adding a calf and sending it to the society? Any questions before I do the universal file import? See, I'm running out of time, so I don't want to take too much time. I'm going to do the universal file import. If I go past past and you need to leave, you're welcome to leave. I am going to put this recording on our YouTube channel as well, so you can then just go and look at the video on the YouTube channel for the parts that you've missed. So a universal file import you would use to import Excel or CSV information, whether it be you starting off from scratch. Animals are commercial, so not registered at any society, but you kept record of your commercial animals on Excel, but the information is getting too much and you can't keep track on Excel anymore. So you want to use HerdMaster and import the animals. Or you bought a bunch of animals from somebody, they have it as in Excel and you want to import it on your side, or you have an electronic scale or a reader that can download a CSV file, and instead of printing that and manually typing in all the weights, you can just import that file. Important when importing a universal file, import file or an Excel file, your cells need to look the same. So if I just quickly want to open an Excel and just share the screen. I hope you can all see the Excel screen. If you can't, please just give me a message. When you import an Excel sheet, let's say I want to type in a date. Now I want to type in another date. Mine is set up to automatically change it. But if yours is not set up that way and you swap the data around and it looks like that, HerdMaster is not going to be able to import it. Your cells need to look the same. Let's say you have weights with a full stop in, and on the next one you have a weight with a comma in. That's also not going to work. Every cell, let's say dates, needs to look the same, weights needs to look the same. To be able to import information, you need to have at least a tag, because you need to say to the system, this information belongs to this animal. If it's new animals, it will import a total new animal. You would need a sex, birth, well, you would need, whenever you import a weight and a trait, you need an observation code saying that this is a birth weight, a weaning weight, and a date when this was recorded. If it's not part of your Excel or your scale or reader extract, we can add it when you do the import. I know most of the readers have a column, it has a date in, and in that same cell, it has a time as well. That you need to ignore and override it, because HerdMaster doesn't work on time. So it's not going to be able to import the time, it's going to give you an error. Now I need to enter animals. I just want to look at animals that I do have in the system. So I'm going to take the ones that I've just added and enter a weaning weight for them. Need the sex code because let's say it's female. Date of birth. Already have a birth weight recorded. So I'm going to put in a weaning weight. You can import an Excel, but it's easier if you do it as a CSV. So I'm going to say file, save as. I'm just going to put it on my desktop. Close that. I need to share my HerdMaster screen again. I hope you can see the HerdMaster screen. Just give me a message if you can't. Okay, now I need to import that file into HerdMaster. Before you do anything like that, any big imports, Or you know you're going to enter a whole bunch of data. File, backup. Always make a backup. Automatically, it would go under My Documents under HerdMaster Backups. It would have your database name and the date. You'll see it never deletes a backup. So if you've used HerdMaster for 10 years, you are going to have 10 years worth of backups. The old ones you can always delete, leave about 5. If we need to restore a backup and the latest one, something went wrong and it doesn't work. Take note, the backups are kept on your computer. I do not have a copy of your data. I do have clients that automatically just does a backup on OneDrive. If you're registered as a society and your information or your data is up to date at the society, I can always send you an extract if something happened with your computer, and we can create a new database, import all your data. If you're commercial, nothing goes to society. You have 3,000 animals, records for every single one of them, and your computer gets stolen and your backup was in your computer, everything is lost. So put it on an external, put it on a OneDrive, somewhere other than just on one computer. I'm going to say save. Edit a successful backup. If you ever get an error and you can't back up, let me know. You need to be able to make a backup. Now to import that file into HerdMaster, you go to Utilities. There is a separate video on the YouTube channel just for universal file import if you want to go and look just at that specifically. Utilities, import, universal file import. You would get a screen like this. Yours will probably be blank. You would say, add a template. So what happens is you can create a template of a CSV file that you know your scale or your reader always gives. So you, even though the information changes because you weigh new animals, the template will remain the same. I'm going to say demo. Now I need to tell him what columns those were. You'll see it says delimited. If it was in Excel, it would say Excel. Click on your 3 little blocks on file name to your right. Not 3 little blocks, 3 little dots. Find the file where you saved it. I called it training and open. Then say load selected file. If you can't differentiate what's happening, then it looks like that. This delimiter at the top is wrong. Sorry, there's a question.
Hello.
Okay, you can't see my screen.
Yes, I can't.
Okay, let me just share again. Screen, share. Can you see
I can't.
the screen now? Okay. Let me then just recap what I said on your, where it says file name. On the block with the 3 dots. Sorry, I just want to mute all again. Go and find where you saved your file. And then say load selected file. You'll see that you can't differentiate what exactly is what on this column at the bottom, where it says column delimiter. That is incorrect. There's nothing in there. You'll see that one doesn't work. Now I'm putting in, let's put in a full stop, comma. So my column delimiter is a comma. If yours looks like that, and let's say you have a full stop in there, just go and change your column delimiter. Usually it works on a comma. Now I need to assign each column to where it needs to go in HerdMaster. So you click on where it says column 0. This is tag. So I'm going to say animal data, animal ID, animal tag. Column 1, animal data, it's sex code. Animal data, this is not birth year, it's date of birth. If it only said 2021, it would be birth year. Now I have a weight. Weights, you'll see I need those information as well, but I only have a weight now. We'll add the rest later. So weight. Now you need to take that column away. If you leave it there, it's going to import an animal and it's going to have an animal tag with a name tag. So you can say your first row contains column names, and then it will take it away. Now I only have 3 lines. So whenever I use this template, it's going to assign those columns. So if you import a new Excel file and your date of birth and weight columns are swapped around, you need to make a new template or load the file and swap those two. Otherwise, it's going to import your date of birth as a weight, if it allows you. Save, close. So now I need to go and find that template. So I've created the template. Now I'm selecting the template. I'm saying next. Find it again. Next. I hope you can still see the screen. Yes, it looks like it. So this is what it's going to import. It's not going to allow me to do the import because I only have a weight and they don't know what weight it is. Bottom right, add a code column. What code do you want to add? It's an observation code, and the observation code is W2 for weaning. Okay. Then I also need a date column. What date is it that I want to load? It's a weight date. The date was today. I'm going to leave it as today and say, okay. You can add this to your normal Excel file and then save it as a CSV, or you can enter it on the screen. So now let's see if it will allow me to import the animals. You'll see, because I typed on the lower part of that Excel file, it has all these blank lines now, but I'm just going to leave that for now so we can carry on. If on this screen you see, oh brother, you've switched the animal tag in the sex column, bottom left, you can go and edit your template. But this is fine for now, so I'm going to leave it as is. So technically, I need to add a weight on 3 animals, and it needs to add this new animal. Let's say next. It would say weights, it's importing 3. I'm going to tick new or update animals. If I don't say new or update animals, it's not going to import that one animal that's not on my system. Then next again. Now it's telling me that I'm working with tags. If I have electronic IDs and I'm going to override something, I must take note of that, but I don't have electronic IDs, so I'm just going to say yes. It says process 3, 0 failed. Let's say import. Just want to see if you can see. Yes, you can. You see, I have green ticks all the way through, nothing bombed out thus far. Now let's say finish. Okay, on this screen, it successfully imported one animal and it updated two. If it said something failed, click on the top where it says import errors. It will say failed, wait for whatever animal. Then you can see which animal it didn't import information from. It's easier if it didn't import anything. But now it imported only half of the information. So you can see on the screen what it skipped, or you can just go into that animal's details. But let's say finish. I'm going to refresh and let's see if it worked. Can you see that screen? At the top, you'll see is the animal that I added. I only put in a date of birth. I didn't say birth year, so it does not have one. But let's see if it imported the weight. Click on weights. There it shows the weight that I just entered. Let's look at the other animal. I'm just scrolling through the animals using the arrow at the top. There's the weight I just imported. Far right, you'll be able to see that it says imported. And then the last one was also imported, and it shows that it has been imported. The universal file import can be tricky, especially with regards to dates. HerdMaster works with your computer settings as well. So if your reader is set to year, month, day, and you're recording your weights on that, and your computer has the day first and then the month, your CSV file is probably going to import the same way as it is on your scale. So if you don't override the date, it's not going to import because your computer date is switched around from your scale or your reader. So make sure the dates all look the same. It's just going to make your life easier if you end up importing an Excel or a CSV file. That is it for the universal file import. I see I've run over time already, so I don't want to take up too much time. Any questions? I will load this onto the YouTube channel as well. If you don't know about the channel, you can just search HerdMaster SA in YouTube. Not everything that's in HerdMaster is on the videos yet. I started it last year with a lockdown when we couldn't do any one-on-one training sessions. If there's something on the YouTube channel that you don't see or want to see that there's no video for, just let me know, then I can just do a video and then upload it. This probably will be available tomorrow. I just need to load it onto YouTube. If there's no questions, you are welcome to log off.
Thank you very much, Nine.
Thanks, Kitani.
Thank you.
Keep well.
Bye.
Dankie.
Cheers.
Dis 'n plesier julle.
Yes. Dankie.
Bye. Sandy, I'm not sure if you can hear me.